Hi, my name is Mike Quinn, and this is the Ultimate Frontline Leadership Training Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what happens when you do the things that we're teaching in these video seminars here. Well, for the first thing, you're going to be a unicorn. From my experience in the last 20 years, well, when you're the only one doing these things, you're going to be a unicorn, and other people are going to be threatened by you because you're working harder, you're working smarter, you're getting stuff done, and it's going to put some pressure on the people who aren't performing because their performance stacked next to yours isn't going to look too good. So the green-eyed monster is going to come calling, all right? I call this unicorn envy. Now, people are going to react in an unfavorable way. They're going to be threatened by your advancing, and they're going to want to put you back down to your rightful position, which is below theirs. They want to be seen as the next up-and-coming person to be the general manager or the regional manager, whatever your aspirations are, or whatever level you're at. They're going to be the ones who are thinking that they're above you, especially if you came in later than they did and they've been there for longer. So they're going to try to put you in your place. They're going to be saying things about you that aren't true. They're going to be exaggerating the things that are true. All kinds of stuff's going to be happening about you. Now, what I'm going to do in this lesson here is I'm going to show you what you can do in response, or how best to respond to these little threats. So depending on who's trying to bring you down, it's going to depend on who's doing the character assassination on you. If it's a superior, you're going to have to just suck it up. You can't fix your boss, but your stellar performance will speak for itself. And your team is going to give you your support. They're going to be really happy you come along. Things are getting fixed. Things are starting to finally be done right. And your staff isn't having to do the things that other people aren't doing. So those people are going to be happy. The people who aren't going to be happy are the people who you're going to be making having to work like everybody else is supposed to work. They're not going to be happy you're taking away their easy, soft job. And they're going to be the ones assassinating your character. But if it's a manager, if it's a boss of yours, a supervisor, a general manager, a regional manager, whatever, you're just going to have to just find solace in your team. Your other managers are not going to be getting as much stuff done, and if it's a general manager you're talking about here, they're going to know it, and if they're the ones assassinating your character, then they fear you, all right? They think, oh, you're coming after their job. There's not a lot you can do about that except for just continually saying, hey, what else can I do for you, boss? What can I do for you? Hey, I did this for you, boss. Keep, stroking their ego because they're feeling threatened and they're feeling insecure. And so if you want them to stop assassinating your character, you have to let them resume being the superior person in the building, and you're working for them. And that will help mollify some of this stuff. It depends on how petty your manager is. But the best thing you can do, like I said, is just to roll with the punches, and just know that when you're working with your team loves you and everything's going great there, that's where you're going to live. Now, you could find someplace else to work. You may say, forget this and go someplace else. But like I said, from what I've seen in all the companies that I've gone around and worked in, and when I've talked to people, they've talked about their bosses, things don't sound like things are great in very many other places. I have to be serious with you. Even places that have really good reputations, they're not scoring high on this leadership program. They don't have any mentorship going on, and they're not teaching their managers how to be managers. They're just teaching them how to manage results. They're not teaching people how to deal with people. And this is where you're going to excel at. You're also going to get great results because you're making a list, you're checking it twice, you're delegating things, and you're putting their names into the list. You're checking back to make sure that everything got done the way it was supposed to in plenty of time, to make sure that if it didn't get back, that you made sure that they knew they were going to do it before they went home. So your results are going to speak for themselves. So just focus on being the best manager you can, doing the best job you can, and having a great time with your staff, because they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders for now, and the customers are going to come along as well. So, like I said, you could go to a different company if you wanted to, and you may end up actually doing that. But just know that just because you're leaving another company, the new company might not be any better than the one you're leaving. Now, if the people trying to ruin your reputation are your equals, whether you're an employee now and there are other employees trying to make it so that it's harder for you to be a manager or whatever, or if you're a new manager and the other managers who've been there for a while see how you're doing and they're trying to bring you down so that they could be above you like they were before you showed up, then you're just going to have to take what they say in stride and just know that your team is going to prefer to work for you. And so that's your reward. That's your reward for doing things great. And they're going to be happy. They're going to go, oh, great. Mike's here. All right. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. So you're not going to have to worry about your coworkers. So I wouldn't waste any time, thinking about, what should I do about them, etc. Don't be afraid to stick up for yourself when, if you get called into the office for something, maybe they made something up about you and you get called in. Stick up for yourself, defend yourself, but you don't have to worry about it too much because your results are going to speak for itself. What you do want to watch out for is saying things in the heat of the moment. When buttons get pushed, we can say some pretty, awful things ourselves, and then later we're going to regret it. So you're going to need to keep a good eye on that filter you have in front of your mouth and make sure that you don't say things that you really don't mean, or maybe you mean them, but you don't say things that are hurtful. So that, there are ways that you're going to be able to work again with these people. Because if you burn your bridges and just start slamming them and start denigrating them, even though it may all be the truth, it's not going to make it easy for you to work with them the next day or even in the next hour. So make sure that you put that filter on really good and defend yourself logically, but not emotionally. Keep the emotions out of it. And if you need to, say, hey, can I go to the bathroom real quick here? I'll be right back, okay? And duck on out and take a minute. Sometimes that's all it takes is just a couple of minutes to gather yourself, come up with some good ideas, and then go back and then calmly reassert yourself and defend, your actions or what happened. But that's really the worst that's going to happen. Mostly, and what's going to happen is, they're going to feel threatened. They're going to say some stuff, but it's not going to be a called in on the carpet type of thing. I don't remember being called on the carpet very many times for anything, but if I did, it was usually because somebody said something and they weren't being very nice about it. So once all the details were filled in, things looked a little different and the situation died down. So just make sure that you put that filter on up and don't say anything that you're going to regret or you're going to have to work with the person and now it's going to be really awkward or difficult. Another person who could possibly try to throw dirt in your direction is team members. A team member may be mad that you're taking away their easy job. Now they're going to have to do their side work before they leave instead of just skipping out like they always do, and no manager's ever stopped them before. That's going to irritate some people. It will. And just call that team member in aside from everybody else and talk with them and find out, hey, I know this, you're not happy about this, but, this has to be done. This is fair. And then try and talk with them about it and see if you can't get them onto your side. And if not, chances are pretty good there's really not a whole lot you can do. You're just going to have one disgruntled team member, and they're going to be asking themselves, well, should I stay here or should I go work someplace else? So now that ball's in their court, and they can do whatever they want about it. But having just one or two people, who are just ornery and just, you're going to have that no matter where you work. So, just deal with it. Everybody's going to know who they are. They're going to know why they're complaining. And so it's really just going to be they're just grousing and everybody knows who they are, and it's not that big of a deal. Customers are not going to be assassinating your character because you're doing a great job. All right, if they're assassinating your character, it's because you're not doing a good enough job or they want something for free. Most of the time, they're just not satisfied with the way you're doing things and you're going to have to fix it. The only way you can tell if it's somebody who just wants something for free is if you have multiple interactions with that person and they're always wanting something for free. They're always complaining about something. They're not happy. They never leave without having something taken off their check, if not their whole check comped. So you'll know these people when they come. You'll know them after they've been to your place a couple of times. You're going to know who they are, and you're going to be able to deal with them. I'll show you how to deal with those guys in a separate video. But for right now, just if your customers are assassinating your character, then you need to find out why. You need to go talk to that customer and see if you can become friends with them and find out what they're looking for. I know one time I had this one woman, and nobody liked waiting on her table. When she would come in, no matter whose section she would be sat in, nobody would want to wait on her table. And so finally I said, okay, look, you guys, I'm going to go wait on this table. I'm going to go see what's going on. So I went and I waited on her table. And I took her order and stuff, and I asked how she was doing. I acted just like a regular waiter. And when she finally said to me, hey, I haven't gotten great service here in I don't know how long, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out that these workers of mine had a prediction, a self-fulfilling prophecy, that this person was going to treat them bad and they were going to get a crummy tip. So they treated her bad, and they did get a crummy tip. So we got to get everybody away from that. Once I waited on this person's table, and I went and I told everybody, hey, she was fine. She just wants good service. And for some reason, when she comes in, it's usually between a lunch and a dinner rush. And that's when service is worse, when you're not humping it. And when you're trying to restock and you're trying to reorganize and you're counting your money, you're trying to leave. The people that come in at this part of the day are not getting great service. And she comes in that part of the day all the time. She was not getting great service. So the next time she came in, I introduced her to her server, and I just followed the server all the time, making sure that, hey, how is she doing over there? When was the last time you checked? Make sure she gets a really good service, and she's going to leave you a good tip. She left me one, and sure enough, she got a good tip. Then the next waitress got a good tip. Then everybody started getting really good tips. So if your customers are starting to call you out for not doing a good job, maybe there's a reason why. You need to find out what it is and fix it, because after all, that's what you do for a living. You fix problems. So yes, going in and making a to-do list, assigning things you walk around with and seeing things that need to be done, assigning them to people, telling them what time to expect your follow-up, following up on and make sure it gets done, and then giving them the reward. Doing this is going to get you great results. All right, you will be the best manager in the building. Because some people aren't going to be too thrilled about it because they want to be the hero, and now you're being the hero. And so we're going to have to find a way to make other people the hero as well. In their own mind, they can be the hero. But just keep up your good work, and whatever you do, don't just give up and say, forget it. Nobody else is joining me on this. I'm the only one, and it's just I'm working hard all the time and nothing's ever changing. So don't give up, because giving up and going back to the way that everybody else does it, that's a losing strategy. That's the reason why you wanted to be a manager, was because nobody else was stepping up. Remember all the reasons you wanted to be a manager? Well, those reasons are still there. So fix those reasons. Be the hero. Fix it. And life will get better. Soon, more and more people are going to be watching these videos, and more people are going to be making to-do lists, and they're going to be following up, and they're going to be giving people praise more often than they give people penalties. And when that happens, now you're going to have somebody to work with, and as a team, you're going to create a barrier for those people who aren't or ultimate leadership graduates. They're going to want to be one, because they're going to see the results you guys are getting, and you guys are being pals. You're having a great time together. You're getting wonderful results. They're going to want to be let in on the secret. And so all you got to do is tell them to watch these videos, and you'll help them along, and you'll answer any questions you got for them, because you'll have been doing this for a little while. You're going to have some experience when problems come your way. You're going to know how to solve them, and you're going to be a resource for these people. So now we're going to start to be actual mentors, just like I had when I was coming up. And the world hopefully will get back on track. So don't quit. Keep on going, and just know that these unicorn assassins are going to be there, and they're going to be everywhere, no matter what company you go to. Just do the best job you can and wait for others to come along. Just enjoy your staff, because your team is going to give you all your joy. Man, I love my teams. So anyway, stay tuned for next week. Right? Till then.